I mean, first of all, I'm completely astonished. You know, I'm completely, to use the big word, flabbergasted at just the fact that the very people who justified the abandonment of the presidential jet for other flights are the people who are leading this onslaught on President John Dramani Mahama. One of them actually told Parliament that the leg room in the presidential jet was not convenient for President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Leg room. Now, look at President Nana Akufo-Addo and look at President John Dramani Mahama. Now, if Nana Akufo-Addo is complaining about leg room, what should President Mahama complain about? Leg room. Jesus Christ of Nazareth. What is this? Look at the two personalities. That Nana Akufo-Addo did not have enough leg room. He couldn't stretch his legs. So if Nana Akufo-Addo could not stretch his legs in the presidential jet, how on earth can President Mahama stretch his legs in the same presidential jet, given their height, their size, and everything? Unbelievable. Now listen, note the difference. President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo decided to go with rented private jets at cost to the states. Okay? President John Dramani Mahama decides to go with free private jets, no cost to the state at all, no cost to the state. Compare the two. Maza, compare the two. So there's a clear difference. And then the argument is made that President Akufo-Addo would not have used his brother's private jet. Which of his brothers has a private jet?
Does his brother have a private jet?
Maza, why are we creating phantoms? Which of his brothers has a private jet? In any case, one of the issues which have been raised is a security issue. And I believe that it's a legitimate security concern. We are told that in the few days of the attempt to sweep the presidency, Alhaji Nusa Hussaini should know better than me. He says that 700 hidden cameras were discovered. My information is that 78 hidden cameras were discovered. But whatever it is, 778, even if one hidden camera was discovered, that's a matter for concern. You understand? So there's a new president. All the facilities that he has to use need to be swept. And by swept, need to be cleaned of all, unwanted devices and so on. And this is not just a Ghanaian problem. Everywhere in the world. I mean, Donald Trump has just assumed office as president of the United States of America. Every facility, every presidential facility will be swept before he enters. It may well be that they, because of their technological advancement and so on, it will be quicker. But the principle of sweeping facilities before presidents use them is a principle which is universal. Now, if in sweeping the Flagstaff House, they've come across hidden cameras, why wouldn't they sweep the presidential jet? Why would they not sweep the presidential jet? And then there's my friend, Dominic Nitiwu, who says that the presidential jet is in a state fit to be flown. Who would assume office as president and take the word of the government he has just defeated, or activists of the government he has just defeated, on his security? Which president would be so naive and stupid to the extent that he will come into office and said that, look, for my security, I'm going to go to the former defense minister or the former minister of national security. I'll take the assurances seriously. Which president would ever do that? To the extent that is possible, you understand? To the extent that is possible, I will go along with my brother Elvis Bota, you know, that the president at all times, where there are state facilities, should use state facilities instead of private facilities at all times. To the extent that it's possible. Because you don't expect to do impossible things. So to the extent that it is possible, you must use state facilities instead of private facilities. But we must know that the president, whether we like it or not, has a certain duality. The fact that he has become president does not take away his private part. There are things about the president which are private.
What do you mean his private part? Oh, okay. His private, well, maybe life.
The president is a private citizen in some sense, and at the same time, he's public in another sense. Okay? There are things about the president which, in spite of the fact that he's president, will remain private forever. The relationship between the president and his brother Ibrahim Mahama is not a public matter, it's a private matter. You understand? Even to a very large extent, the relationship between him and his wife is a private matter. And so on. I mean, so there are private aspects of the president's life and there are public aspects of the president's life. We should not confuse the two. And in fact, the president himself ought to help us make that distinction. And that is why I'm going to say something, you know, that is why the role of his family, his children, and so on, in his official functions should be deliberately limited in order to preserve his privacy. You understand? If family begins to intrude in public affairs, the line between his privacy and his official rule is blurred, and the president ought to be careful about that. It's very, very important. We are told that he flew commercial on this flight. So even the question of his brother's jet does not come in at all. The question of his brother's jet came in much earlier, and it was explained. I am satisfied with the explanation. You understand? Now, we should understand that his brother, Ibrahim Mahama, is not from Mongolia. He's also a citizen of Ghana. And if we insist that Ghanaians, all Ghanaians, have a right to contribute to the national development effort and so on, the president's brothers also have rights to contribute to the national development effort. Now, if individual Ghanaians can donate, make donations to public schools, can make contributions to the national kitty and so on, why should we exclude Ibrahim Mahama? Do we exclude Ibrahim Mahama simply because he's the brother to the president? That's unfair to him. Completely unfair to him. And I have persistently made this point about the fact that I don't care. I really don't care. You know, this issue of family and friends which has been raised in the past, have you ever heard me raise it? I don't care. The most important thing is that, are they qualified? And by qualification, I mean academic qualification, I mean experience, I mean entitlement, I mean all the things that go into making up what is qualification. You understand? So today, if for example we are awarding a contract, and engineers and planners which belong to Ibrahim Mahama bids, and they provide us with the best bid, are we going to say that simply because he's a brother to the president, he's not going to get a contract? It would not make sense. He's a citizen of Ghana. You understand? So my point is that when these issues arise, I think that we should end the political, point scoring and look at the issues dispassionately. You understand? I know of a president who actually traveled, in economy. He didn't travel in business class. He didn't travel in first class. I know of a president who traveled in economy. Check, you would find. I know of a country in which the president had his brother, twin brother, not just brother, as prime minister. And there was no problem, and so on. So we need to go beyond the formal relationships and so on. And then also I know of a country in which two brothers, a neighboring country in which two brothers are struggling for power, competing for power. And two brothers, and it becomes deadly. And one of them was actually arrested and imprisoned. Yes. His brother arrested another brother who was competing with him and put him in prison. I know of countries in which the president's brother is the leader of the opposition and so on. So please, let us be sober, in the discussion of these matters. And for those who claim that President Akufo-Addo did not have enough leg room in the presidential jet, they should obviously know that if Akufo-Addo did not have enough leg room, Mahama would also not have enough leg room. For those who claim that the president needed to take his bath, in the air, and that the presidential jet had no facilities for taking baths and so on, they should know that, if Akufo-Addo needed to bath, perhaps John Mahama also needs to bath and so on. I mean, I condemned, the extravagant, hiring of private jets, and I would not want to see Mahama hiring private jets. But people should be principled, and being principled is being consistent also.
Thank you very much.